What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got a story time for y'all that I think you're going to enjoy about this spoiled kid that stole his mom's jewelry and then gambled it away at school. Wouldn't recommend doing this, but be sure to press the like button or no joke, no scam. Your kid's gonna steal all of your valuables and you don't want that, and without further ado, let's go.
Nice rack and her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million.
Alright, so I guess at this particular school, tetherball was the game that, like, everybody played. You know, if you were going to make yourself an athlete here, tetherball was the game you had to make yourself good at. And naturally, whenever the entire school is playing a game, it, like, becomes insanely popular. You had crowds of kids watching tetherball, you had multiple games going at a time, and naturally, when something got popular and there was winners and losers, people started to make things a little bit more interesting than just a straight-up match. You know, they would gamble a little bit, and I think that's probably not a good idea. I feel like gambling on tetherball is probably one of the easiest ways to make sure you lose everything you're gambling, but hey, to each their own. They would bet, you know, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. If somebody had like a homework pass, that was on the table. Sometimes, if people were really crazy, they'd bring real money, but you know, not many of them had it. But there was one kid in particular who was quite a fan of the gambling, and that was this kid named Reggie. And Reggie was an insanely spoiled kid. His parents just had way too much money. They would get him whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, and because of that, he always had just like extra toys, extra stuff to bring to school and, you know, bet on tetherball. And you would think that somebody that's gonna bet everything on tetherball would be good at it. They'd practice a lot, maybe because he's a rich kid, he makes his parents like buy him a tetherball court in the backyard so he can practice. You would think that one way or another, if you're constantly gambling at a sport, you would get a little bit good at it. But no, this Reggie kid was basically always losing whenever he would gamble. Like, literally, it got to the point where all the good tetherball players would see him walk up and be like, hey man, do you want to play? Because they knew that he would bring something that he wouldn't be able to not gamble and lose. This guy was literally basically funding, like, all of these really good tetherball kids, like, lunch money, you know? They would take some Pokemon cards and sell them. And eventually, him gambling on these tetherball games got so bad that he had, like, lost all of his Pokemon cards. He didn't have any of his toys left. He didn't have any money. And, you know, he obviously gets to this point, and this is not a good thing, this is how you know you're addicted to gambling, where he's telling himself that if he just had a little bit more stuff to bet, he could win it all back, because, you know, he's really close to a good luck streak. And obviously, he's begging all these people that he's lost all these Pokemon cards and toys to play him again, and at this point, they don't really want to play him again, because they've got everything to lose, there's nothing left to get. So they're like, alright, the only way I'm ever going to play you again and give you a chance to win everything back is if, you know, you make the bet very interesting. Like, you gotta bring something to school that we can bet about that, you know, isn't cheap. And listen, at this point, I gotta say that these kids were probably just realizing that this kid would do anything. He was addicted to playing tetherball. So they weren't exactly the nicest about it, you know, they didn't have to tell him that he should bring expensive stuff to school, but he did anyways. They did too, so like, whatever, I'm not in charge of them. And listen, you would think at this point, if they're like, I'm only going to keep taking stuff from you if the stuff gets more expensive, you would think, okay, maybe I should stop gambling. Like, if everybody's just telling me that they want me to bring more expensive stuff because I'm so easy to beat, I should just quit. But no, of course not. This guy had deluded himself into thinking he had the secret sauce at tetherball. He'd just been on an insane bad luck streak. So he knows that he can't bring anything cheap. He doesn't have any Pokemon cards or toys left. So he decides that he's gonna steal some of his mom's jewelry to gamble. As I said, he's a spoiled kid, so I'm assuming his mom had a lot of jewelry, but you know, he still decides in his mind that her jewelry is good to take to school and gamble with on a stupid game that no one really cares about. Like, you know, I understand that you might have a gambling problem with tetherball, bro, but I feel like stealing your mom's jewelry to try to win back your Pokemon cards is just not a very good trade-off here, because what if you lose the jewelry too? Hey mom, listen, I understand that you had a couple necklaces that grandma gave you before she passed away that were insanely valuable and impossible to replace because they were made over 100 years ago, but I got really into tetherball at school and I lost all my Pokemon cards and they said they were only going to play me for something valuable, so I went ahead and gambled it. Hope that's all good. Like, I don't think your mom's going to be understanding of that, but regardless, he takes some of her jewelry and he decides to take it to school to gamble with. And so he comes to school with 2 pairs of earrings and 2 bracelets. Like, it wasn't even like he just took one item to gamble with. He cleared out half the jewelry box to try to make sure that, you know, he was playing tetherball all day tomorrow. And he instantly gets to school and starts like showing it to everybody, right? You know, oh, look what I brought, look what I'm gonna do for tetherball. And everybody's like, why do you have all these earrings and bracelets, dude? Those look expensive. You shouldn't have brought them to school. And he's telling everybody that, you know, well, obviously because I lost all my Pokemon cards, I needed to bring something to gamble with. So this is what I'm going to use to gamble on tetherball. And literally, people in his class at that point are telling him this is a bad idea. They're like, dude, I would not gamble your mom's jewelry on tetherball. That sounds like a bad idea. But he doesn't care. He's not listening. He's like, no, you guys don't understand. I've gotten a lot better. I've been practicing. There's no way that I'm going to lose this time. The typical stuff you would hear somebody saying if they're definitely about to lose all their mom's jewelry. But word spreads around the school pretty quick, and all the good tetherball players, like the kids that are capable of just destroying him and getting the jewelry, they're starting to get excited. You know, they're getting happy. They're like, dude, I'm about to make some serious money off this guy. I'm about to get a diamond bracelet for playing tetherball. You know, all of a sudden their college fund is going to get a big bump to it. Like, you guys get what I'm saying. All the good players that are about to win all this jewelry are starting to get excited. And obviously everyone's talking about how he's going to bet his mom's jewelry and he's an idiot, da-da-da-da-da. And finally, lunch comes where they have like this long recess period before they go eat where everybody plays tetherball. And, you know, everybody goes out there to the tetherball game. Everybody's watching because they want to see what this kid does. And he comes out, sure enough, with all the earrings, all the bracelets, and he's like, oh, hey guys, what's up? Yeah, I brought this stuff to bet on for tetherball, but get ready because I've been practicing. It's not going to be easy to beat me today, da-da-da-da-da, just kind of hyping himself up. And then he starts to get a little overzealous and starts talking crap about how there's no way he can lose. Like, you know, I'm betting with my mom's jewelry, so that's going to make me play even harder, so there's no way I'm going to lose. And listen, if you are now bankrupt because you've gambled everything on tetherball and lost every game, I don't know where the sudden burst of confidence is coming from, but he's just talking crap to these kids now. Alright guys, I'm going to interrupt the video for just 1 second. If you guys look at your screen, you'll see a gift card code. I give one of these away in every video I post to say thanks to y'all for subscribing and turning on notifications, so if you haven't yet, you should, and if you already do, I appreciate ya. While you're, you know, taking a second to subscribe and turn on notifications, you should scroll down, press like, and comment as well. If you comment the word tetherball down below, it helps the video hit recommended, and I appreciate it. And on that note, I'll shut up. Thanks. And listen, man, I'm just saying, just because you're betting a bunch of stuff on a game doesn't mean you can't lose. That doesn't multiply your skill. Like, somewhere in his mind, he's like, well, you know, if I bet all of my mom's jewelry, then I have to play better, because if I lose it, I'll get in trouble. Yeah, that could also backfire and, you know, crack under the immense pressure and play worse. I'm just saying, like, it's probably not a good idea to start acting more confident and talking trash to people when you've got a lot on the line, because they don't. I also love this idea. Like, a lot of people I've talked to are like this, oh man, if I bet a bunch of money, like, I'm super confident. Just because you're confident doesn't mean it's gonna happen, bro. It's still gambling. I live in Las Vegas. Every day when I wake up and, like, go skate around and I see all those giant casinos down there, it reminds me that, you know, gambling's a horrible way to make money. If gambling and casinos were made for you to get rich, they wouldn't have $70 billion casinos on a strip of land where they just fleece people for their money. I'm just saying, man, like, there's a reason that they say the house always wins. Chances are you're being overconfident by gambling all your stuff. So whatever, the first game he decides to play is one of the better kids at tetherball for one of the bracelets. Keep in mind, it's like a diamond bracelet, and he's like, if you can beat me, you get this bracelet. And the kid double checks with him. He's like, are you sure, Reggie? Like, you're saying that if I beat you in this game of tetherball that I get that bracelet. And he's like, yeah, if you're willing to pay or play for it, not pay for it. And obviously the kid's like, all right, that's fine, but you're okay with that. Just to make sure you want me to play you for this bracelet, this diamond bracelet, you're okay with giving me if I beat you in tetherball. And he's like, yes. And all that confidence, man, all that trash talk, he gets obliterated. This kid literally mops the floor with him. He doesn't even touch the ball. Like, you know, when someone's playing tetherball, they just start smacking it. It's just spinning around the pole with speed. Reggie literally does not even get a hand on the ball. And so he loses, and he looks pissed, but he, like, reluctantly hands over the bracelet. And you'd think at that point his confidence is shattered, but he looks back at him and he goes, what about double or nothing? And everyone's kind of like, you know, kind of like, what is this kid doing? And he pulls the other bracelet out of his pocket. He's like, double or nothing. And the kid, once again, is like, dude, are you sure? Like, come on, you kind of just got slaughtered. This bracelet looks like it's expensive. Are you sure? And he doesn't even have to be doing that. At this point, if the kid is just fleecing him, like, Reggie's the one that's being stupid. But he's trying to give him a chance. And he's like, yeah, are you afraid? Are you afraid to play double or nothing? I think you're afraid of me, huh? And so now Reggie's trying to shame this kid, say he's afraid of him. So he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll play you again, sure. Obviously, if you're going to start screaming at me, calling me a coward for not wanting to take your mom's jewelry, like, I've got to play you now. What else is that kid supposed to do in that situation? If someone's just offering you free money and saying you're an idiot for not wanting to take it from them, like, you gotta do what you gotta do. So they get ready for the second game. It starts. Once again, he just gets absolutely blown out. He does touch the ball this time, not a whole lot. It doesn't really do anything, but at least he gets his hand on it. And he has to hand over the other bracelet. And so at this point, he's just got the earrings, right? And so everyone is like, dude, stop. Don't gamble the earrings. You've gotten obliterated twice. Seriously, stop. And this is like the crowd of people watching telling him to stop. And I'm just saying, if the crowd of people starts telling you that this is a really bad idea and you shouldn't do it, then you really shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Because if anything, I feel like a crowd of people watching you are going to want to watch you be an idiot. People are entertained by people making bad decisions. So if the decisions you're making are so bad that even strangers are like, hey, you really shouldn't do that because you're going to regret it, then your decisions have to be really, really, really bad. You know, I've never had a stranger walk up to me and be like, hey, don't drink that water, man. Like, drinking water's bad for you. But this crowd is telling him, stop gambling your mom's jewelry, stop it. But instead of taking the warning of the crowd into consideration, he just decides that, you know, he's going to double down, he knows better. So he looks at the best tetherball player that's not playing, and he goes, all or nothing. You get all the earrings if you can beat me. And so everyone's like, oh my god, you're an idiot. The kid with the 2 bracelets leaves. He's like, fine, whatever. And now the kid who's really good at tetherball looks at him and says once again, like, are you sure? Are you sure? You want to gamble the rest of this stuff that you took for your mom on a tetherball game with me? And this kid had just never lost before, by the way, like, period. Not to this guy, not to anyone. So if you're gonna pick anyone to play for the rest of your mom's expensive jewelry, this is the worst person to pick. But sure enough, Reggie's like, yeah, I don't know why everybody thinks I'm an idiot. I know what I brought to the table. I brought this expensive stuff because I'm confident in my abilities. So if you're gonna be a little pansy and not play me, then that's on you, but I want to play. And so this, like, kid who's great at Foursquare obviously is like, fine, if you insist on playing me and losing, then I guess that's what we can do. So they start to play, and this guy, who's way better than the other dude he just played to obliterate him, destroys him in like 3 seconds again. So this guy's played 3 games, he's touched the ball once in all 3 of them, and he's now lost all of his mom's jewelry. So sure enough, the kid who's really good at tetherball goes over there and like takes the jewelry from him because he agreed to gamble it, and he hands it over. He doesn't make a fuss about it, but he doesn't say anything. Like, he's just kind of sitting there with this 1,000-yard stare in his eyes, and he's silent. And finally, I think the reality of what he just did starts to hit him, because he's just like crying now, right? He's like, what did I do? What did I do? And everybody's just kind of sitting there watching this happen. But the 2 kids that have won, they have the jewelry now. This kid's like, you know, oh, why did I gamble my mom's jewelry? So they're standing there. They don't really know what to do because they asked this kid multiple times, like, are you sure? And he kept saying he wanted to. So they just decide to walk away. They're like, look, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm out. So they start leaving. And when they start leaving, Reggie sees that, like, they're leaving and they're not going to give him back the jewelry because that's not how gambling works. I don't think you can just go, guys, listen, I thought I was going to win when I bet that. So now that I lost, can I have it back? You know, that's not how it works. But he's upset. He probably realizes how much trouble he's going to get in. So he does the worst possible move you can do in this situation. And he decides to go tell the teacher about what had happened. And so he goes to a teacher crying about how they took his jewelry for tetherball and he bet it, but he didn't know that they were gonna keep it and his mom's gonna be mad. And obviously this teacher is sitting here listening to this kind of in shock because they don't know any of this is going on. They just thought everybody's really into tetherball, and here's Reggie like blowing the whistle on this whole gambling ring thing. So obviously this teacher has to put an end to it. They can't just let that continue to go on. So the teacher, you know, rounds up all the kids, everybody that was involved with watching the game being there, gets pulled into the principal's office and questioned. They end up finding out who the kid bet the jewelry against and, you know, rounding them up. And the entire time, all these kids are like, yeah, okay, whatever. We know we shouldn't have done it, but Reggie did this to himself. No one took the jewelry from him. No one forced him to play. He was the one that wanted to do it. And all the teachers and principals are like, yeah, okay, we understand that he wanted to do it, but it doesn't matter. They make the kids that won the jewelry give it back, which isn't unfair because obviously Reggie's an idiot for taking it in the first place. But at least they didn't get in trouble. If giving it back's the extent of their punishment, then that's fine. But if they got like suspended because Reggie gambled with them, it's not their fault that he was like, no, I'm willing to lose all my mom's stuff. They had nothing to do with it, so they get the jewelry back. But at that point, Reggie is in the clear with his parents, but I don't think he thought through the fact that it was going to make everybody else at the school think of him as a snitch and not like him anymore. Because now everybody's just like, dude, screw you. You're the one that made this big deal about how you were going to bet all of this jewelry, you know, and you didn't care. And then you lost it because you suck. And once you lost, then you start tattling on everybody. You get the entire tetherball game shut down. Because obviously one of the things that they had to do to shut down this gambling ring was like literally get rid of all the tetherballs. They just got rid of them all so that way it wasn't going to be a problem. So this school that had like loved tetherball, that's what they would do at recess, it's what everybody would talk about, gets it taken away because this guy just can't handle the fact that like he lost his mom's jewelry of his own accord. And yes, he gets it back. His mom didn't actually lose anything, but like no one wants to hang out with the dude that's going to snitch on them the second that they lose or something doesn't go the way that they like. No, you guys don't understand. Gambling's only really fun if I win. That's what the rules are supposed to be. You guys don't get it. It's not fun if I'm not winning. And what made it even worse is it wasn't like he was apologetic, you know, he didn't feel bad at all. He thought they were being ridiculous, like for not wanting to forgive him for what happened. I don't understand why you guys are mad at me. We shouldn't have been gambling in the first place. Like, if anything, it's good that the teachers came and shut it down because it was a bad example to us. And everyone's like, all right, dude, whatever. It's a bad example to us. But if it was such a bad example and you knew it was so bad, then why were you always gambling? Like, it's insane that everybody else had no issue with it, and then you show up, lose all your Pokemon cards, lose all your mom's jewelry, and now you're just so glad that they shut it down. Oh yeah, man, it was just so bad. That's why you were constantly doing it. You clearly didn't care until you were losing. That's what's really annoying. And let's be honest, if he would have bet all that jewelry, all those bracelets, all those earrings and won back all of his Pokemon cards and everything else, right? Which was his goal. We all know he wouldn't have tattled then. There's no way this kid wins back all of his Pokemon cards and then still goes to the teacher and says, I won all this stuff gambling and I feel really bad and I think you should take it away and give it back to the people I took it from. You know, those rules only apply when he loses his mom's jewelry, right? Like, if he would have stolen everyone else's Pokemon cards, we all know this dude would have been like, too bad, so sad, deal with it, I've got your Blastoise, and if you don't stop, I'm gonna flush it down the toilet. And the reason that Reggie acted this way kind of had to deal with his parents, because, you know, obviously the parents ended up getting involved when they discover this little gambling ring. They have to call his mom to explain that her jewelry's at the school, all that stuff. But his parents were more mad at the other kids at the school, apparently. You know, they weren't mad at their son for taking the jewelry or losing all of his Pokemon cards or anything like that. They thought that the rest of the school was guilty of quote-unquote taking advantage of his wealth, which I think is just a little ridiculous, dude. Cause listen, it's not like they were robbing him. If they were just stealing his lunch money, then yeah, I agree with you. They're taking advantage of the fact this kid's got money. But if your son is willfully going to the tetherball court and saying, I'm gonna beat you, and if I don't win, then you get this Pokemon card, and he never wins, and he just keeps doing it, that's kind of on him. Like what, you expect everybody else in the school not to notice that your kid is just offering them free money? Like if there was a broken ATM spewing out $100 bills, you wouldn't go take a few? I love that people would pretend they wouldn't, but let's be honest, if tomorrow a fire hydrant breaks and it's shooting out money instead of water, we're all taking a little bit, okay? And you're also glossing over the fact that, you know, your kid took the jewelry. Like, they didn't tell him, hey man, bring your mom's necklace in and give it to me, or bring your mom's bracelet in and give it to me. They never said that. That was his idea, dude. But on the bright side, at least it's not as bad as losing your 401k, you know, your mom's 401k. We have had story times on this channel about people doing worse to their moms, so all things considered, I guess stealing your mom's jewelry isn't that bad, which is insane to hear. Still don't do it. Never, never, ever do it. But compared to blowing an entire retirement fund, this is on the low scale of things. Seriously, though, I would recommend not making everybody hate you by ruining anything fun at your school. If you suck at a sport, just don't bet all your money on it. It's really that simple. I will say, though, you never know what's next. After tetherball, they might switch to kickball, and this kid's gonna steal the engagement ring and bet that on a kickball game instead. You just never know. Be careful out there, dude. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought, or of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on notifications. If you don't know what to comment, like I said, the word tetherball would really help the video hit recommended. Other than that, if you want to help me out, you can check out the intro song link down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, or you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. You get a discount on G Fuel. It helps me out. Everyone's a winner. And last but certainly not least, I did go ahead and put some of my story times up on Spotify. Y'all have been asking for me to do that, so I went ahead and did it. So feel free to check that out. Link will be in the top of the description. And yeah, on that note, guys, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see each and every single one of you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.